Okay, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So today you're going to need your notebook, a pen, you're going to need some glue, and you're going to have a couple of sheets. I've already glued them in, so you're going to have to do this step, okay? So you're going to have your Unit 2 overview. You're going to have a small thing that has the Pledge of Allegiance. You're going to have a full-size page of the Declaration of Independence. You're going to have a preamble page. And then you're going to have a notes page that we will be filling in together. Okay, so go ahead and you're going to glue in your Unit 2 page, glue in the Unit 2 overview, and we're going to talk about it. It says Unit 2, Thinking Like a Historian. During this unit, the students will continue to develop critical thinking skills by examining the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution for meaning, purpose, and intent. We have a few vocabulary. We have Constitution, a document that outlines the fundamental principles and structures of a government, unalienable rights, basic rights people are born with, also called natural rights. Preamble, an introductory part of a document. Amendments, additions made to a document. Pledge, a promise. Allegiance, loyalty. Primary source, first-hand accounts of an event created by eyewitnesses or first recorders at the time of the event. Secondary source, accounts of events created at a later date and by someone who was not present at the event. Point of view, an opinion or perspective presented by the author of a document influenced by the author's personal circumstances. Historical context, the circumstances of the time in which an event occurred in which an author lived that may have influenced his or her point of view. Okay, then we have the Pledge of Allegiance. Yours may look a little different, but it says the exact same thing. Just glue it down at the bottom. Okay, then we have our Unit 2 tab. Remember, we are dating and putting our page numbers on each page. So if whatever day it is, don't write the word date. You're going to write the date that's on the board. Okay, then we're going to put in our Declaration of Independence. You may just fold it and put it in. We're going to put in our preamble. Remember your date and your page number. I folded and put in Unit 2. And then we're going to fill in our notes page. Okay, let's look at the preamble. 1 second. There are a couple words that we need to know within each of these. So let's look. Okay, so when we talk about the preamble, that means that this is the beginning of the Constitution. This is the first thing that is read. So we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. So this is just saying beginning the reasons why the Founding Fathers wrote our Constitution. So we're going to look a little bit more at this, but let's move back over to our pledge. So we need to put a couple of notes here, okay? So I pledge allegiance or promise. When you pledge allegiance, you're promising to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. Remember, republic means that the people that aren't in government, so you and I, when you reach 18, you are allowed to vote. So a republic has voting. One nation under God, indivisible. That means it's not going to be divided, with liberty and justice for all. So we're going to put not divided. Okay, that's what indivisible means. Okay, so our pledge is considered an oath or promise to be loyal to the United States and the idea of freedom for all. Now, this was not a perfect thing, okay? At this time, these documents only covered, it was only established at the time for white male landowners. Okay, so women were not considered, anyone who was not a white man that owned land. So it could be a white man that did not own land and he was not covered under this. So there were some problems, and so in that, as time has gone by, that's why we have our amendments. Amendments have given these same rights that we're going to look at to everyone that lives in the United States. Okay, so let's look. Let's turn to our notes page, and let's just look at some of the things that we see in these documents. Okay, the first thing we're going to look at is our Declaration of Independence. Okay, so we have a few key elements that make up the Constitution, or Declaration of Independence, sorry. We have our preamble. We have a statement of belief in human rights. Okay, we have charges against human rights. We have a list of complaints, charges against the king. Remember, at this time, we don't have states, we don't have the United States, we don't have formed states such as Texas. We have colonies. We have the 13 colonies, and these 13 colonies that were all on the eastern seaboard. So over here, I'll show you real quick. Let me find the map. So over here, these states here, this is what we're looking at. So this area at this time is who is coming together to write this. And we're writing to the King of England, so King George III. Okay, so they're also writing a statement of separation. Now, separation is just meaning that you want to leave somewhere or something. Okay, so the Declaration of Independence was written because the colonies wanted to separate from England, from the king and the monarchy in England. Okay, so the purpose of the Declaration, it was written as an open letter to King George III. So this was a letter, in the form of a letter, dear sir, right, with a signature page, okay, of England. It was written to explain the colonists' position on the purpose of government. So at the time, the people that lived in the colonies did not have any say in the government. They didn't get any choice, anything. They didn't have a say. So we had the colonies who were in America, what is today America, and then over across the ocean we had England. And those people that were in England were making all of the rules and governmental decisions for the people that lived here. And none of these people got to have any say or decision or anything over in England. So they were upset, and we're going to go more into it later. But this was kind of what this says. The purpose of government. It's just so that they could have a say. Okay? It listed the colonists' grievances, or what was upsetting them, charges against King George III to show the legitimacy or the proof of their actions to others. So, engenders sympathy, and monetary support. So it was written to get sympathy, for people to feel bad for them, and to provide them with money. Encourage reluctant colonists. So some of the colonists did not want to separate. They were afraid of what the king would do. So they wanted to stay loyal to the king. And then there was another group who decided that it was worth whatever the king did. And British subjects should join the cause. Okay, it encouraged foreign nations to assist the colonists. So foreign just means anyone outside of Britain at this time. So France, Mexico, Spain. So anywhere that was outside of the 13 colonies and out of Britain, that would be foreign, to assist or help the colonists. Okay, so what is the importance of this? Well, it established the founding principles upon which the United States came to be built. So this document here, and I know you can't read it, it's very, very, very old, and this is just a copy of it, but this document was what our entire government today was based off. So it was a very important thing. Okay, began a nation by declaring the answer to the questions: who are we? What do we believe? That have set the standard for freedom around the world. So we believed that people had the right to be free, that we didn't want a king or a queen. We wanted a democracy where people get to vote. Okay, our key ideas. All men are created equal. Now remember, at the time, this only included white male landowners, okay? So it wasn't necessarily everyone, but at the time when it was written, it was white male landowners, okay? Okay, now this, unalienable, it's a difficult word. Unalienable rights include life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Pursuit just means that you can look for it. Okay? You're not necessarily always going to be happy, but you always have the right to try to be happy. And that means you have the right to get a job. You have the right to own a house and have a car and go to school. And without this, we wouldn't have any of that. Okay? Governments are instituted by men deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. So that's just normal people. That basically means that people have the right to vote, and the people that they vote for get the power to be part of the government. So it's our consent. Our vote means our consent. So if you don't like something, or you don't like a person, or when you become old enough to vote, your consent is your vote. So if you want to change things, or you don't like someone or what they're doing or such like that, our consent is our vote. That's why it's super important once you reach 18 that you go and you vote. Okay, right of the people to alter or abolish government. So that means that the people, so not the president, not the Congress, not the representatives, not the mayors or the governors or any of the political groups have this. We as voters have the right to alter or abolish. So if we want to change how things are going, then we have to vote. That's basically what this is saying. Okay? These united colonies, remember at this time states had not been created yet, are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states. So with this document, we are going from colonies and we're creating states. Okay, so without this document, without our Declaration of Independence, we would not have states. We would still live in colonies. Okay, the colonies are absolved from all allegiances to the British Crown. So absolved just means that we are broken apart. We are away from the British Crown. Okay, to form a more... Now, we're going to look at the preamble. We're just going to talk about some of the things that it means. So our purpose. And if you look, it's just restating what it is. So we're just going to talk about some of the words and what they mean and just help you understand a little bit more. Okay, to form a more perfect union just means to join together the colonies. Okay, to establish justice or define and protect the rule of law. Okay, to ensure domestic tranquility. And that just means it being a happy place. To prevent conflicts within or between states. So tranquility just means that it's tranquil, it's peaceful, it's a nice place to be. Okay, to provide for the common defense, a united power opposing any attacks. So this is your army. Okay, this is when we start seeing the beginnings of an established army. Before, we did not have this. Okay, to promote the general welfare. So that means to safeguard human rights and to provide a stable society. So that just means where we live. To secure the blessing of liberty. Ensure that the concept of freedom endures. Alright. So now, remember, this is the beginning of this document, okay? So, the overall general purpose of the Constitution, to include this, is to define and limit the powers of the government. Okay, establish the framework for the government of the United States. So that means that we have 3 branches that include Congress, As the bicameral legislative, that means it's two parts that make one. That's the Congress. As the legislative branch, the president is the head of the executive branch. And then we have the Supreme Court as the judicial branch. All right. So please make sure you have it. And if you haven't finished other stuff, now would be the time to do it. We will be having our Unit 2 test next week. Thank you very much, and I will see you next time.